welcome everyone to the Lightweavers podcast. We are really delighted to have the beautiful Chelsie Sullivan on with us today. She's one of my dear dragon friends, and I'm really excited to have a conversation about alignment with everyone. This is June's theme for our conversing. And yeah, I wonder if we can just all take a couple of deep breaths together just to like ground, let go of anything that's in the field that we're ready to let go of. I'll just call in the Divine Feminine Christ Mentors from the Sophia Code. In the Northeast, I welcome Isis and Saint Germain. In the East, welcoming Hathor in the Hathor Star Nation. In the Southeast, we welcome Green Tara and the 21 emanations of Green Tara. In the South, welcoming Mother Mary and Grandmother Anna. In the Southwest, welcoming Mary Magdalene and beloved Yeshua. In the West, we welcome Kuan Yin and Mahavatar Babaji. In the Northwest, welcoming the Sophia Dragons. And in the North, beautiful White Buffalo women in the White Buffalo Star Nation. We welcome the fullness of our higher selves, anchoring us fully into this space, rooting us deep into Gaia, to the center of Gaia, and expanding with our breath, pressing out the circle of empowerment around us, creating a little bit more space for more of us to show up fully today. Surrounding us all with the violet flame, just sweeping through us, the violet flame of transmutation, just to transmute anything else that's left in the field that we're ready to let go of right now. Okay, so we can be here together. Thanks for being here. So Chelsie, I wonder if you'd like to introduce yourself right now.
Absolutely. My name is Chelsie Sullivan. And at this time, I would say I'm identifying most strongly as an Ascension guide. And I've made many offerings over the last several years of my spiritual awakening. A lot of them included physical practices like yoga and physical culture, and moving into more of an interest in DNA transmutation. So I'm assuming that the name of this podcast is Lightweavers, and that we are very aware of the ascension happening now. So I can speak to that, okay? I think that really my zone of genius is in light code activation in the light body. So I had a massive channeling experience, excuse me, in 2016, where I had my Holy Spirit really descend into my physical body, and it awakened my light language and a lot of other intuitive healing modalities that I've offered sort of on and off over the last couple of years, but also been really heavily immersed in my own healing journey. So I would think of that as more of the ascending pathway, as they talk about in Green Tara's chapter of the Sophia Code, where I'm becoming clearer in my physical space by removing trauma and patterns, that is allowing me to step forward in more of a leadership role, which I think is my next level in my healing journey at this time. But yeah, identification is a difficult one right now. I feel like everything is really, really fluid, and I'm not sure how to identify myself, if it's by what I do or what I've done or what I feel. So I hope that was enough to give you a good sense of who I am today and what I'm here to talk about.
Wow. I'm so glad that you're here with us. I mean, Joy hinted at who you are, but she basically was like, yeah, I'm going to Mount Shasta with this amazing woman and her daughter. And she was like, trust me, she's got to be on the podcast. But she didn't really tell us that you were an Ascension master. I'm like, what? Like leader? That sounds so cool. I would love to know more about if you're leading groups or individuals. And yeah, you're doing great. I'm just so glad that you're here.
Yeah, right now it's like I've just created this offering I call it the spiritual recharge. And it was born really authentically from my heart space. It was like this arising from my heart, asking to become a resource at this time. And I consider it really ascension facilitation, because what I'm doing is just cultivating this space throughout my daily practice to allow the right circumstances and geometries really for people to connect with their own higher self. It's like clearing the field, and I'm just inviting people in. I've opened my door and I'm inviting people to come in and sit with me for an hour, and I'm just bringing through whatever wants to come through in transmission. But it's interesting because I'm speaking light language and I'm doing channeling, and we're doing some group sharing, like allowing people to bring their own voices into the space. But I feel like really what's happening is happening silently. It's really about the energetic atmosphere. And I'm feeling called to bring this forward into more of an intentional, like, group manifestation space where we're coming together to consciously create the new earth, or what we all want to see as the new earth. So it's exciting. This is like really brand new. I've only ever done before this like one-on-one things, and this is new. So thanks for asking.
Mm-hmm.
So cool. Thank you.
Yeah. This is really interesting to me to talk with you about these things during our month of alignment, particularly because of all of the, I guess, cosmic alignments that are coming through, and how I've been witnessing your journey expand as we get closer to these specific alignments, like the full moon eclipse on Friday and the solstice eclipse coming up this month as well.
Yes, I have absolutely felt that, and in fact, I've been feeling it all year, since the start of 2020. And there was that point on January 13th, and I think we met on the 11th, but there was a Stargate portal that opened up then, and I feel that I've almost been on like a roller coaster ride, or a track that's already been set out, and that is the alignment. It's like each stage has been already pre-planned, and I went through some really, really intense clearing and healing in March. And then now it's just been, it's like the feedback systems are super, super clear. So I know when what I'm doing is in alignment with my higher self or not, because I've finally discerned the feeling of like feeling good because I'm getting relief from something that otherwise feels bad, or feeling good because I'm being drawn into what is actually exciting my soul. And I feel like I'm on this fast track. And as far as the planetary alignments, it's almost like being a seed that has a certain germination time and then sprouts. So it's almost like the control piece has been taken away, and I'm just flowering, along with everyone else at this time. And I'd love to know what your experience of this is as well, all of you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so dope. I'm really excited about this. Well, Joy, I wanted to maybe also hear the story of how you two got connected, and then what your travel plans are as well at some point. But I'm gonna pass the mic over to Gaitrie or Suzie and let them kind of share about their process right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put Suzie on the spot because I went before. The first podcast.
I wanted to do the same thing, but so I'm gonna pass it on to Suzie. Love you.
To be the authentic version of me, you know, bringing forth the whole notion that as a human being on this planet right now with an interest in all things divine, but a very human base level experience currently. My own personal experience with Ascension, I mean, this is now just a word that's come into my realm since this happened to be on my doorstep just a couple of months ago, mysteriously. So I didn't even know what a codex was. I had no idea. Nothing. So I'm a seed. You know, like all of this is literally a seed. There's no germination yet. There's no flowering yet. You could say that I'm still like the lotus seed in the like shittiest muck. Are we allowed to swear? I don't know. Okay, cool. So that's where I am. And it's almost like sometimes I have these moments when I feel that there's this amazing potential for myself in my life. I just don't know how to go from seed that's still in the mud to knowing which way is up, where there's gonna be sun and there's all these other nurturing conditions that are around that I just don't feel I know how to invite in. I don't know. Does any of this is, I guess, I had my first experience today upon Joy's suggestion, which was taking that first initiation with Isis. And I felt very powerful. I was really excited to call in the possibility that I can connect with something greater than this little meager human form and this little mind that's constantly working, wonderfully called the monkey mind. Yeah, but there's a feeling that it's inaccessible to me. And that's just my experience, and I'm trying to be open to it shifting and changing. But since I'm on blast right now, that's kind of where I'm at. So interested to know more about how to have assistance in Ascension. But I'm just listening right now. I'm taking it all in.
You're doing great, Suzie. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, a lot of what you said just spoke really strongly to me. Because I know exactly the feeling of feeling this potential and then just not seeing it, really just looking around and not knowing how that's going to show up. And I experienced a ton of angst over just feeling like I should have been doing something else. And what I really love about what you shared is how settled you are in where you're at, which is like really far ahead of where I was at. And each time I did a meditation to connect with my future self and try to get advice on like, what should I do? How do I grow in the right direction? How do I find that light? The answer was always just relax. It's exactly as it's supposed to be. Like there really is no effort involved in your germination. It's like all of the perfection is there in the seed. Like if we are that seed, the seed already is encoded with everything it needs. And the same is true for you. And I really get the sense that you know that. And that's a really empowered place to be. And additionally, I think that those seeds who are feeling that they're still underground but are sprouting at this time are going to have a very much faster track than those of us that did this a couple of years ago. So just that listening is just so perfect. That is all there is to listen.
We call it the dragon ride, which to me also implies that it's an S curve.
Oh,
It's not a straight line.
Not linear at all.
It's multidimensional, and it has its ups and downs. There are the highs and there are the lows. And even the low is in alignment, because I feel like I was talking to Eliza about this pretty recently. Like, we can hit these really crazy highs and be like, whoa, I'm ascending, I'm enlightened, and then bam, smash our face into the ground and be like, what happened? I thought I was doing so good. And it's like, well, you have to integrate that high into the actual physical reality of your human body right now before you can actually reach that place in your physical body. So the more grace we can surrender into as we hit that low part of the curve and just be like, okay, this is what it is, purge it, take it, like, okay, it hurts, but I can do this, I'm doing this, and just like stay, you know, focused, like as positive as possible. Then eventually, you know, instead of the height of the curve being like this, then it gets to be like this, and then like this, and then like this, and then you're like dancing, surfing, and then you're like, woo, actually this is kind of fun, you know. So the tidal wave comes, then, you know. Woo.
Water again.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'm up next. So my name is Gaitrie, and I guess Suzie, just kind of like with what you said and just the way how things have gone for me over the past couple of months, it hasn't even been a full year that I feel like I've actually had some kind of clarity into what's going on and the path that I'm supposed to be on. Like, I struggled with it for so long, primarily because I didn't have people around me that could explain certain things. And so what I did a lot of is really just pushed it away. Like, I pushed it away. I like suppressed it. I thought I was imagining things, and then thankfully I found like a great circle that helped to cultivate this beautiful strength within me to really bring it out. And it took a lot of work, and it took me like literally saying that I am not a channel. Like, I couldn't even finish the sentence until like Joy saw something, and it was just the wildest experience that we've had. And even today we had another crazy experience together. But you know, you talk about like how the lotus and how like it still blooms even in those muddy, murky waters. Like, it still finds a way to bloom, and it then becomes one of the most beautiful flower you could ever possibly come across, right? So keep that in mind as you go through this journey, because I think that's really important. And a lot of the struggles, a lot of the things that you deal with, that's going to be a great foundation for like your strength in helping others, right? Because without it, you wouldn't be able to really really connect with other people, right? Like those struggles, like you can then be like, well, I remember how I felt during this time, or I remember the experience I was going through. And that kind of helps you, you know, bring that other person along to a better path. So I think in terms of, I mean, I go by this little thing, like every time I think I'm enlightened, I just spend an hour with my family and I realize I'm not. So I'm like not even fully there. But you know, and it's a constant struggle, because sometimes I have like, damn, I feel really good, I feel really empowered, but then I also am like, crap, I don't feel anything at all, right? So I mean, just continue to really try and tap into, and listening is huge, you know. And I love it. Remember, I don't know, were you there when we pulled the Hermit card for me, right, at our healing session? And yeah, it was really just, I needed to listen. I didn't even realize I was muted, right, until it was my turn to go. And I'm like, I'm the hermit right now, because I need to listen. I need to listen to stories. I need to listen to people. And then I need to start listening to myself and trusting myself. So Chelsie, I'm sorry if I went off on a little tangent, but that's kind of what came through for me.
That's
for listening.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Mm.
It's, you know, what I'm becoming a lot more aware of recently is how much of a twofold path the ascension really is, because what we have is we've incarnated as these souls with experience and with gifts, and that is really more vast and more enormous than we can imagine. But we're all here in these human bodies, which makes the playing field absolutely level, because the collective humanity is dealing with intense trauma, and that trauma is stored at the genetic level. So although we all have our unique family lineages and our unique life experiences, there is no human being that is walking this earth that does not have trauma to deal with. And so as we are ascending, which is like, as the ascension is an organic process that is occurring in the universe. It has to do with the alignments of these huge planetary bodies. It's literally light returning to our planet from the center of our galaxy. It's information that is coming to us now. And as this light is hitting us, it is activating our DNA. In order for that activation to really integrate, as Joy was saying, integration, we have to contend with all that trauma that's in our bodies. So like you were saying, as I am around my family, I think I'm enlightened, but I realize I'm not. The truth is you are, but at the same time, your task as a soul incarnated in a human body at this time is to become an enlightened human being.
Mm.
You are an enlightened soul. It's the humanness. And as you also said, whatever struggles we go through is going to be our gift to others. And that is absolutely the case. Is when I found for myself that when I was really experiencing a lot of activation, like up here, when my light language was activating, when my consciousness was expanding to remember my existence in this galaxy through over many different planets for a long time, it kind of gave me a sense of disconnection for the human condition, because it was like, oh, everything is perfect. Like, oh, this is, and you're kind of flying with those realizations. And then Joy was mentioning that you have these high experiences, but then you crash. Well, it's because that humanness is like the second part of ascension, and it's the pathway that Kuan Yin is an excellent mentor for, of teaching us how to really hold ourselves with compassion. And like each cycle of integration just brings us further into the mastery that our souls already are. Like Suzanne is feeling the potential of her. I know that there's like this huge potential. That potential is naturally and organically integrating itself with you in a way that is divinely orchestrated, and it's perfect. But it is not easy to do. And that S curve, like when you go back to that other side after having an enlightened experience, at least in my experience, it's almost like the lights go out. And I would find it very, very difficult to connect at this high level and to engage with the people that I know are my soul family, because I would feel like there's something wrong with me. Like maybe I was wrong when I was feeling that all of this amazing potential that I have, maybe there's like something went wrong when I came down into this body. Like I just can't do it. And it would really bring me to like the choice of, should I leave this world or not? Really, really intensely experience extreme depression and anxiety, even after having these realizations, even after remembering my galactic origin, even after activating my divine healing gifts.
What makes you choose to stay?
It is there was always the light that wouldn't go out. As much as I tried to put my light out, there was something there that just wouldn't give up. It's like, even if the light was only like this big, way at the end of a tunnel, it was my divine will that kept me. It gave me the strength to begin walking myself out of that cave again and again, even as recently as 3 months ago. Thank you for asking that question.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for answering. Thank you for sharing your journey.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
I would really love to make sure that everybody else, like Eliza and Joy, have a chance to share and respond. But there's something really powerful, Chelsie, that you're mentioning, because it kind of goes aligned with something that I've been giving a lot of thought to, which is suicide prevention. It's something that, you know, while some people are talking about ascension and the spiritual path, I feel like I've been stuck talking about mental illness, you know, and I think that there's a real disconnect from like mind and heart. And when you just kind of feel like you're only in your mind, you don't feel that you're connected. Well, the interesting thing is it can be so abrupt. When the connection is there and everything's wonderful, and you know, we're connecting with each other, a sisterhood or a human, you know, on a human level, we're all in this together, we're all connected to something more divine. And then, like you said, the lights just seem to go out. And when the lights seem to go out, you know, focusing on that tiny little bit of light, this is something that needs to be a bigger conversation. How do we support other people when they can barely see that light? And I feel blessed because I'm, you know, looking at 3 other women who've been able to support me in that, but not everybody has that not everybody can understand. When you're learning in school and when you're going to college and you're supposed to show up every day to a job, you know, and you're having these profound experiences where you can't see light, even though 2 days ago you just felt like you were connected to everything and understood that it's all exactly how it needs to be. That experience can make being human just even more overwhelming to sensitive bodies. I don't necessarily know, you know, if there's an answer to this or if anybody has any thoughts or anything coming through.
What comes to me first is the normalization of those states of being. It's like in our society, we're really only accustomed to sharing what's glamorous. And I think we need to deepen our connection to each other, those of us who are going through an ascension process, because it is a lot of love and light, but it's also a lot of darkness and pain. And there need to be places where we can show up with all of what we are and have that be acceptable and okay. And I think it's the normalization of the ascension of what that really means. I'd love to hear what anybody else thinks about this as well.
Mm-hmm. I love that you're saying that, because all of us, whether we're conscious of it or not, are on this ascension journey. Whether it's going to happen all in this lifetime, which is rare, not everybody's going to do it all in this lifetime, but it is possible, as says the Sophia Code, or it could take many lifetimes, and it could, you know, be just like this gruesome struggle if that's what you've chosen for your path. But like, I agree that normalizing ascension, I mean, the whole planet is ascending, the whole universe. We're talking about these like galactic alignments. This was you that was telling me about this, right, Chelsie? The 26,000 year era ending, and like the alignments of the galaxies, like everything is ascending, not even just our planet. So like, it's like the only thing we can do, well, okay, so there's two options: we resist or we surrender. And resisting, so when you were talking earlier, Chelsie, I was seeing this image of um we're on a spiral pathway, and we can choose to keep going around in circles around the outside ring, or we can surrender and let it take us down inside of ourselves. We can't go outwards, we can only go in. If we try to go out, we're stuck in the hurricane, we're stuck in the outer ring, and we're just going to get whipped and banged and whipped and banged and whipped and banged, and there's no way to tell where we are or how. But as soon as we surrender, that's when we get sucked into this downward, this inward spiral through our hearts. And that is the way, like the way that Jesus talked about, is through the heart, is through me, is through like who I am into all that is. And that, I feel like, is the ascension pathway. And that's what I feel like all of society is revolting against right now, because we've been socially conditioned, and not even just socially conditioned. There's lots of programs running that are not the highest programs for humanity right now, but we have to, you know, choose to activate the ascension program. And I feel like the only way we can do that is by normalizing ascension, just at all, by having these conversations and being able to recognize that this journey that I'm on is totally okay. Like, all of my feelings are valid. Everything I'm experiencing is valid. Even if I think I'm crazy, I'm not crazy. Like, this is just what it is. Yes, I did see that thing. Yes, I did feel this thing. Yes, I did hear the, you know, like, this is real. This is my experience is valid.
Yeah, so there's that side of it, which is, I think it is like the light side, is being able to talk about the phenomenon, and even being able to talk about the joy in your heart. And the other side of that is, like, you know, if you've noticed that the people who commit suicide are generally the most sensitive people in our lives. And so what the other part that needs to be normalized, and I think that the world events that are occurring are massively helping with this, is it's all of that, all of what's wrong in humanity with our society, all that isn't supportive to the natural organic soul, was in shadow. So the sensitive soul, who has the ability to feel energies and to feel the love and to feel the light that's coming, and to speak with multidimensional beings, is also the one that is the most affected by the matrix of our society, of how the way that we interact with each other is so closed, and how there's never an outlet for the soul to express itself. And I feel that it's like people who experience that level of pain, they turn it inward on themselves, and they feel isolated because of it. And the reason is because it's all in shadow, because nobody talks about it. And that's, so ascension needs to be normalized in that sense of, yes, the light side and also the dark side. Like, this is going to be an amplification of feeling in each direction. And to make that a conversation, especially for the younger people, I feel, the children and the young people who who came in with this sensitivity and need outlets for expressing both their joy and their pain.
I'm resonating really strongly with all of this conversation. Also having struggled with very high sensitivity and depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies in the past. And I'm grateful for it because I feel like it has given me empathy and strength to support others. But I do want to agree that in those moments, it's so blinding and we can often feel just so alone. So I'm so grateful just to hear amazing women who are on this path of like ascension, also just sharing the humanity of what that pertains and the roller coaster of it all. Because I agree, the more that we can share, hopefully someone else who's hearing this will realize like whatever they're going through is okay. You know, it's you're still held in that, and these networks of support where we're able to talk about what we're feeling and just be held and like let it be okay to feel shitty, to feel angry, to feel irritable, to be frustrated, to feel things that you can't explain. I was just telling Joy as we got on the call last night, I was so angry. I was just feeling so much anger. I like started this kind of squabble with my husband, and then came upstairs and checked my phone, and Joy was like, oh, there's this Kaya Ra call that's going on right now. And simultaneously the two other girls started texting, because we have this like three-way text. So the four-way text. And they were all like, yeah, I'm having a shitty day. I'm having a hard time. Joy's like, get on this call. And it felt like so aligned. Like she was just speaking right to my heart. And I knew the hearts of the other women who were there. I could feel her like in real time, just like casting out these dark energies and saying, you know, it's not, I don't know, it was interesting because she was kind of like, it's a battle. It's like an internal battle that they're fighting for our minds and our emotions right now. And I don't really understand what that means, because I do feel like, I'm not sure who they is, because it's all one, isn't it? But it is our own process of like trusting ourselves and taking those steps to continue to trust even when it is dark and to show up. But no matter what, the synchronicity and the divine timing of it all felt so powerful. And then after she casted that away, you know, I thought about it, like, why were we all having such a hard night? Like, what was going on energetically that caused us all to simultaneously, individually feel this really intense energy? And then Gaitrie was mentioning her daughter was having a really hard day the last 2 days. And if we think about the cultural energetics right now going on, it's like there's just massive uprising of anger. People are so angry and feeling stifled and stuck in their homes, and then they're, you know, looting and protesting and rioting. So whether or not we're actually part of that or in our own bubbles, so to speak, as sensitives, we are still energetically feeling that imprint. And I know I was so mad. I've never really started a fight with my husband. I was like kind of just circle talking, you know, when you get stuck in that loop. And then as Joy was talking too, the idea of descending into our bodies, I also saw it like simultaneously kind of just this vertical energetics, and then almost saw it like an orb with like the longitude and latitude around it in both directions, like all these spirals, as it realizes its interconnectedness and it realizes its oneness, and then it kind of like can grow in any direction and shift. But it's like
the toroid.
It has to come, you're right, it has, exactly, the torus, like it has to come down and through in order to be able to go back up and around too. Yeah, it was an interesting visual I had while you were talking.
I've heard it put that in the toroidal field, you can either, so you know how you're talking about there's that pillar that goes through the toroidal field, right? So in this dimension it goes like this, and there's this is the spiral pathway. This is the spiral. So in a two-dimensional field, you're going to see it look like a circle. It's going like this. You can pick this way, or you can pick this. You can be the tube that everything moves through, or you can be the thing on the cycle. And we pick this because this is where we're in alignment with the source of all that is. And everything can flow through, and we have access to everything, and everything else can spin around and go crazy if it wants to, but it doesn't matter because we're the channel.
The eye of the storm.
The eye of the storm.
We are the channel. Oh my God, I love it. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you for explaining that.
I mean, that's what I've seen and felt and heard and all that. So I'm sure there are other interpretations, but that is what really resonates with me.
Cool.
Lately, especially. Yeah, that prayer call last night was so powerful. Were you there with us, Chelsie?
I wasn't. I needed to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm going to catch up with it.
Yeah.
Probably tomorrow.
Oh, great. Because it was like, that was Kaya Raw. There was something I knew that everybody needed to listen to this call. And I just, it's like everybody, like I have to listen to the replay again too, because after this call happened, like just towards the end, the last 10 or 15 minutes, there was this incredible lightning storm. Yes. And it just like, I had to go outside and me and my partner went out and we laid outside in the grass and let the lightning bathe us. And I could feel white buffalo women and the dragons and the violet flame and all of this stuff flashing all of my chakras. I could feel the electricity moving through my body. And then I kept hearing downloads of wisdom like lightning, and then boom, these flashes would go into my third eye. And I was just like, whoa, like totally on fire. Like I was like, I'm about to get struck by lightning. Like what is going? And I was like, I'm safe. I surrender. I kept covering my heart. And I was like, no, just being me. And then it like made me sit up, and I could feel it. It was going straight into my crown chakra, went all the way down my spine into the earth. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the physical manifestation of what she was praying for. And then the rain, I was like, okay, Sophia, let me know when I gotta go. Like, just let me know, make it clear. And then this epic wind came and went and like rushed through all the trees. And I was like, okay, time to go. And I got up and I like walked across the street. And then all of a sudden, it started hailing, pouring, and it was like everything was going sideways, and like all this water, and I was just like Aaron and I were like squealing and screaming, like flashes and crashes of lightning. We're like, yeah, clean it all. We're like dancing and cheering. I was like, oh my God, like.
Oh my God. Wait, Chelsie, are you in Buffalo? Are you in this area in Western New York? Where are you? Because I guess like Joy and I are the only ones who got the chance to experience that, but it's exactly how she explained it. Like not even a lick of like making that shit up, because that's like the windows in our rooms kind of got blown out. Like curtains were flying everywhere. I mean, I had to deal with children. I wasn't gonna, but that's a beautiful experience for you to go and bathe in that lightning. I never even thought of shit like that to go do. That's amazing.
Dude, it was terrifying. It was
like,
terrifying.
I want to do that.
But it had to be done. It just had to be done. And I I was receiving downloads for everybody, you know. It was like I had to receive this transmission into my body so that I could share it, you know, like the experience you and I had today, Gaitrie.
Yeah.
Like, you received some of that. Like that was for you too. You know what I mean? Like that transmission, the transmission that Kyra, you know, brings through is the lightning medicine, you know, and it was just so powerful to be able to experience that with nature and with Sophia Gaia as well. I just had to share that because it was really so
usually I just kind of like go into the room and kind of like hide away from the lightning. I actually sat here and like listened to it all, and then when the doors slammed shut and the windows were kind of going crazy, one of the kids was up, so I had to go and help Brian as he closed all the windows in the house and like pouring rain in. But like when the hail started, I was like, oh my God, like what's gonna like appear right now? It was crazy. It was wild. But yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Felt like starships, like
Yeah.
shining lights. It was really so incredible.
Thought the Greek gods were going to descend down and be like, hey guys, let's make 2020 even better.
Yeah, right. Here's Thor and his hammer. We're just gonna, you know.
Oh, man. But yeah. Mm.
Something.
I'm down in Rhode Island,
Mm.
so I did not experience that storm, but Joy, as you were talking, I could feel the whole thing really strong. And it's wind is always what lets me know that it's time for me to go.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that experience so many times, so I can really feel that. I mean, I can feel the activation, and that's why I'm like assisting that energy and coming down and kind of organizing it in a way that I can feel. It's just like part of what I do.
I was watching you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're moving energy sort of with your hands and integrating it into your field, or?
Yes. So this whole time while you're talking, I can feel the light language codes. So this is a very rich space right now.
Yes.
And the codes can be expressed through sound, through movement, and through these like mudras or hand signals. So it's like I can feel that energy that Joy is talking about. I can feel her experience, and it is coming in and it's interacting like with my light body, which is like the subtle energetic body that is sort of surrounding me. And I can use my hands to direct that energy, and I feel it in my body. So I can feel, part of that energy is like stuck in my jaw. So when I make this symbol with my hand and I like move it this way, I can draw it down. And it sort of feels like being a conductor. So as I'm doing it, you might feel it as well, because people usually can intuitively understand the light language and the codes if they're sensitive. And they'll be like, what is that? What are you doing?
So are you saying that when somebody explains something to you, or when somebody else is experiencing something, you can actually like feel that within your body?
Yes. Yeah. I can also feel like when I get into one-on-one situations with people, because I did some personal training for a while. When they're having like a pain or something in their body, I feel it in my body, and my body will tell me where to track the energy to like release the block.
Is that like subconscious? Like, I mean, like, does it just, how do I explain this? Does it really just appear out of like instantly? Does it like happen like instantaneously, like when you interact with that person? Or
There has to be an open channel. So if the person is shut down, it won't occur. Like if they're open, then I can get the information. But if they're not, then I can't. And I can activate my channel as well. Like I can shut it down if I don't want to feel it, but I typically will leave it open. And so when I get into spaces like this, where like, you know, especially when I get into spaces with Joy, I can feel a lot happening. Like there's a lot of activation. So I can like feel that energy all over my body. And this by moving my hands in this way, I'm able to change like the nature of that energy to be more like compatible in my body. And I feel that I can do it for the space as well. This like up where this stuff is really working, there's the time and space, it doesn't really exist. Like there really is no space between us, and we can interact like directly in this quantum way.
so is it like I'm so curious about this. Is this like a therapeutic kind of touch that you're doing along your body? Is it more like Reiki based? Like what, like the touch, like how does that sensation? How is that kind of defined?
It is similar to Reiki, where I've had Reiki, and Reiki feels almost like a blanket. Like, to me, it's sort of a homogenous feeling, whereas this can have like different intensities, and different sizes and shapes. It's like it's very sensual in an energetic way. It's like I can feel the quality of that energy coming through, and it's like it can be fast, it can be slow, it's like either intense or subtle. So there's a lot, the same way that we can notice what colors things are, what they smell like, what they taste like. It's like a sense that I can play with a lot. Whereas when I've had Reiki, I feel more of a general overall, like a wave that sort of rolls over me.
And then
Oops. I was just gonna clarify. You're speaking about the way that you're experiencing light codes in transmission is less homogeneous than the Reiki.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then when you're moving that energy throughout your field, is that something that you like had some kind of training to learn how to do, or is it an intuitive movement flow?
This came through as part of like a major event for me. It was like, it came down actually like lightning. We were talking about these lightning activations. It was like lightning. And after that, this ability was activated. So it's not trained, it's all intuitive.
Nice.
So then you spoke about like the mudras, the hand gestures, right? Are there specific ones that you use? Like, where are these mudras like really stemming from? Do they have like a meaning? How is that kind of like intertwined to what you're feeling and doing?
I've recognized some that you would find in like some of the ancient wisdom traditions, like like mudras, like I see the same ones, and other ones are, I think they do have a meaning, but meaning is translated very differently at this level. So sometimes when I'm getting these light language transmissions, and I'm getting better at this, actually, this is like something that I'm working on, is at least getting what this transmission is about. It's like, this transmission is like specifically for like giving us the ability to integrate more of the light that's coming in. Or I'll say, this is about accepting yourself as you are, or this is about opening the heart. But in translation, there's no like direct translation in words, because it's like, it's really a language that comes directly through the heart.
Yeah, and emotion.
Yeah, it's understood like directly. It's like a direct knowing sort of system.
Okay, thank you for answering all those questions. I was
thanks.
Very curious.
Thanks for asking.
Very curious.
This is
Not
getting
surprising that resonates with you, Gaitrie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a dancer, focused primarily on Indian dance, and so a lot of the hand gestures, traditional hand gestures, really, I work a lot with. So, and then also just the energy through my hands is has been noted to people that I've come across. So
yeah, my guess is that you have this gift as well, because typically when people are drawn in like that, it's because they also have the same gift. And I've actually had experiences where I've given sessions to people, or I've done artwork for people, and then within a couple of months they are speaking light language.
I was just gonna say, I'm getting like major downloads listening to you talk as well, because I'm a massage therapist and also do some energy work, but my favorite types of sessions are just when I'm just present with a person and I can just feel like, ooh, what's going on here? And like, I feel like something with your, like your father's side of your family, and it's like in your hip. And then we do some sort of weird sounds, and like, I'm just making it up, but it's like, just feels really right. But it's not always tapped in that clearly. And it definitely feels like it depends on the person, and like you said, how open they are to it, and also like if I'm in the right energetic space. So I would love to know, like, how do you prepare for a session like that? Like what do you do to like to align yourself on it? Like, do you have some sort of daily practice that you do, or are there ways that we could each kind of like practice opening up to receive more of our light language?
Yeah, it is definitely a daily practice. It's in the morning. Like for me, this came through, I started to write light language as well. So writing was a way for me. Dance is another way, just like being anything that you do where it allows you to be in your intuitive body is going to get you into that space. So everyone's going to have a different thing. It's in like it kind of, it comes through when it needs to as well. So like part of it is trust. And it's never forcing it, like you were saying. So sometimes that could have to do with the other person that's on the receiving end being open or not, and other times it's that your higher self is saying it's time for this, and it's just get out of the way, and it will just come through. But the practice for me to get ready for this, I will speak light language to myself and open up my channels. Before this call, I spoke light language to myself, and just allowing, if you're a singer, singing is going to do that. If you, anything creative, anything where you can allow your body to move, where you can allow your hand to move, where you can allow your voice to move, is just going to it's because it's really just getting your channel flowing and open.
This is like so perfect. So when we started this network, the intention was like to help women activate their channels. I've never really heard of like speaking light languages or anything, but I know the states that you're talking about, because when I dance or I sing or I'm painting, I'm tapped into this different embodied intuitive flow, and it just like, there's no effort, it just takes over, and then the painting gives me a message, and it's like, not only was that fun and it felt good, but it was like, whoa, I just created something really cool that's speaking to me. And I always wanted to help other women tap into that space, but I have to say I struggle a lot with the daily consistency. So it's just funny because I'm about to start opening up like my Zoom room 8 a.m. to 8:30, just like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just to like just show up with other women and hold myself accountable. Like, hey, let's just, whatever you want to do, you can sing, you can dance, you can move, you can journal, and just open up to those, I just called them flow states. But I'm so curious, like you have terminology, and like there's a word for these things. When you're speaking light language, like I don't understand what that means though. So I'm curious if you could explain a little bit more about that.
It feels just like the flow state of when you're painting, and it's an activation with my throat chakra, and my heart. So I could speak it to you.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I'm curious, like if it's maybe.
So I'm gonna explain to you in light language how you open. Like,
cool.
So, and this is something where you want to be in your heart and letting this energy just hit your heart and hit your ears, and keeping your mind as much as you can out of the equation. So we're just going to explain to you. Here's how you get into a flow state. Siama hafes aetif oti sahiatori piesaturi etsalia dai kievti suintera koetamia sara. We are now very curious to show them a secret to something here what and you to kuisam tarietari mikiesa susote mentarka. We are now hayasa ayatim oya asak or tesiate misesaratima koata. Itiara nyara to kiera te setsamia te yasanta kiasor to imakayata. We are not say so who taken by a tarisa. Yes, I anaya sarisi sarya sarisa. Si saira waramuru. Wam ayat erutui kabaramati se hasayante erutui soya amura. Alatania holotukuita pesasa katigetaria susukuiranta esafot okultamus. So that's a little bit about what it feels like and how you can tap in to your own flow state from a light language perspective.
That was so trippy. Just like, what? Am I an avatar right now?
Oh.
Like, she doesn't need the subtitles when she watches Avatar.
I saw a girl doing that on Instagram, but I didn't understand. She was talking about light languages too, and so I've been following her, and I'm like so curious, and I do feel things, and I kind of felt like it was getting stuck here, like around my throat too, and I was like, well, I'll try to like bring it down a little, like doing a little move or whatever. But I could feel it, and I felt like I saw this like big eye at one point, and I just felt it washing over me, but it felt like it didn't feel like words. It just felt like this big feeling. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but just like the static electricity, like, what did you guys feel like? I'm so curious.
I actually just texted Joy. Sorry. I just wanted to mark it. I just wanted to note it. I saw this small black square in the beginning, and then around it was a larger square. It was like a square. It was like, and then it actually separated, and it just kind of like scrambled around. I have no idea. So that's why I texted this Joy. I was like, I don't know. And so that's
yeah. And it's interesting how light language affects everybody differently as well, because I think it depends on like where you're at and what you need and like all the things. But for me, I felt this like warm glow, this golden glow of these like spiraling, I could almost see the codes, like I could feel them. I more felt them than saw them, but it was like rippling through my heart, and I felt like it was helping me. It felt like it was helping me integrate the lightning codes that I received last night as well. So I'm really grateful for that. But I felt a lot of it in my heart, because you said to focus and open in the heart space. So I was like, okay, boom. But I have a lot of practice doing that. So
yeah, it was hard for me to get out of my head a little, like wondering if that's what I was seeing. Like, you know, again, did I just think of that before I went in, and was that what was lingering? So yeah. Suzie?
I had my eyes closed, and I was so curious, and I opened my eyes because I saw that, you know, there was some more hand motioning, and I was just kind of like watching all of you guys be in awe. And then when I closed my eyes again, and I was wanting so badly to understand, you know, just like, what is she communicating? What is this communicating? And then I just felt like I had some silly thought about what was there was a movie, I think, where maybe these like underwater beings were around. I feel like, you know what I'm talking about. It's an old movie. It was mainly like a lot of older people, I think, that came into contact with these like underwater beings that were just these like brilliant extraterrestrial, perhaps, even though they were, I don't know. I just was wondering, I was curious, like, wow, these light beings that are speaking through her, is something speaking through her? Are they, yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of head stuff, sure. It's hard to keep your heart open and your mind out of it, you know, because it's like we have this desire to understand. Like, I wanted to understand what was being said, you know, because we're not used to, I mean, in school, it's like, do you understand? Are you taking this test? Is it clear? You know, you're answering yes or no. It's very not very often. And it's like, what do you feel from it? You can't quantify that, for a grade and oh yeah, that school is doing great because everybody said, yeah, they feel the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, we're not there yet.
Yes.
And you are a sensitive feeler, Suzie, but it, like you said, it is like a retraining or a scrubbing the training or the way that we've been told to compute information, and so we try to segregate it or make it broken down into components. It's like X means 2 + 1, and then, but it's like it was like a I think I just think it's fascinating. Yeah,
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Totally.
yeah.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah.
I do want to note the time.
I know.
I was just going to say we have like 10 minutes, so we can start kind of wrapping up. Just want to presence that.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to respond to Suzie just briefly that I've been practicing in this Kriya that I'm doing, breathing through my body instead of just inhale, exhale. Instead of having this like breath experience that just goes into my lungs and out, that's like semi-conscious. I've been doing this. There's this conscious breathing where you inhale for 20 seconds, you hold for 20 seconds, then you exhale 20 seconds. I don't make it to 20 seconds. I do like whatever I can do in that moment. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's 17, whatever. But as long as each of the parts are the same, like that's part of this Kriya. But I've been starting to feel my breath exuding from my body and coming in my whole body, like in and out of my body. And I feel like a practice like that can actually help you get out of your head and more into your feeling sense body, because that's exactly where I was experiencing this light code transmission, was like in that same process where I've been feeling the breath flow in and out of my body, almost like expiration. Spirit, is that what it's called? Expiration, when the like cells or beings do that through their skin.
Respiration.
Yeah, but I think it's like, I don't know, I'm thinking of the word spiracles, but I don't even know if
I think an inhale is an inspiration and exhale is an expiration, but overall it's respiration.
Yeah,
I think.
But there's a specific process when there's like a specific, and I'm probably using the wrong word for it, but there's a specific creature that breathes through its skin, and it has a specific name for the process. I'm getting stuck on that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. I was trying to recall where it was that we met first, and I wonder if it was in Sedona in 2018.
Yes.
Yeah, because you had hair then, and then like long hair. Yeah.
Yes. It was a very poignant moment for me, Joy.
Yeah.
I was sitting outside of the Creative Life Center on one of the VIP immersive days after the conference had ended and journaling, and you came out with like your lunch. And I looked up at you, and there was like this weird instant like lightning connection. And then it took us like, I don't know, a long time after that till we like hooked up and spoke. Yeah.
And then we shared space last year in Sedona, and I feel like that's where we really connected.
Yeah.
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 And now it's like, we're doing this. We're going to go to Mount Shasta together. Let's do this. We're doing a spiritual pilgrimage, and we're going to open a vortex.
Yes, we are.
We are. We're doing it.
And we're co-hosting a meditation on Friday.
This Friday.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
This
Friday. You guys are invited. Yeah. During the time of the eclipse. It's at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So this is a time where the alignment of all of this energy, like what's been asked of us through this, what is it Donna's called? Oh my gosh, there's so many cool people that we're connected to that I'm just like so blown away by. But there's been this call for all way showers and light workers and grid workers and guides that at this moment of this eclipse, on this full moon portal, we were originally called to gather in Mount Shasta for this date, but because of all of the cancellations and all these things, then it became this gateway to anchor in and become points of light all across the world. So what we're intending to do on Friday is to gather us consciously so that we can, like, you know, more easily get into a space where we can receive the light codes and the transmissions that are coming in and get out of the way, so that we can actually activate our light in a bigger way and really anchor in this grid of the new earth. Because what Adonis has been saying, Adonis Sirius is his name on Facebook, and he's got some really profound transmissions that he's brought through. What the gist that I get from it is that now is the time when we get to receive the full blueprint and actually become the pillars through which the new earth anchors itself to the earth. So if we can allow ourselves to join in the etheric, like in the metaphysical realm, we'll realize we're not actually separate, and we can connect this blueprint in a new way, in a more powerful way that will then it's going to show up in the collective as this incredible shift in consciousness. Like, it's a new wave of information coming in, is how I interpret it. And I'm not sure if you have anything more to add to that, Chelsie, but it just feels like a really important alignment.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's just this moment in time where it's our joint efforts are amplified for bringing in these. So like I said, the codes they're coming in from that galactic center. But there are these astrological moments where we have increased opportunity to really open to really become these channels. Like, it's a conscious thing. It's like, if we are aware of it, if we are pointing our consciousness, then we can absorb more of this information than if we were asleep, or if we weren't paying attention. And this particular activation is a lot to do with the brotherhood and sisterhoods of light, which are they're very high level creation gods, in a sense. They're very close to the source, and they had a lot to do with the creation of the universe. And so they're coming through very strongly at this time. And I made a very strong connection with them after Sandra Walter's webinar that really, like, touched me in the heart and, like, brought the tears. And then I was really called, like, pretty hard to open this space. So we'll be doing that on Friday at 3:00. I think we'll probably get on a few minutes before. The full moon reaches its zenith at 3:12, and the eclipse is going to happen at 3:24. And it's not going to be visible in the northern hemisphere. It's more Africa, India, and China. But what I figured we would do just a 20-minute throughout that span from 3:12 to 32. And maybe we'll do some guided to get people into it, and then like 5 or 10 minutes of pure silence. So
I have 2 questions. One is, how can we participate along with you, if that's available?
Well, we're going to host it on Zoom.
You're hosting it on Zoom.
Yeah.
And anyone's welcome to join. Is this going to be through the Lightweaver Network? Is this through your own personal opening, Chelsea?
I created
it.
Okay. Yeah, so if you're connected with Joy, I created an event on Facebook that has a Zoom link, and Joy can get that link to you.
I can post the link in the Lightweavers Network as well for anybody who's interested, and we'll write a little blurb. But yeah, I've been sharing it I've invited all you on Facebook. I invited so many people already. Like, I got that message and I was like, click, 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 click. So anybody you think that might be interested or feels called, like, in the next couple of days, like, just please share, because it feels important to gather people.
Yeah, it's for our own personal ascension, but also for the collective. It's like the true hearts are gathering.
That was my next question. We talk about ascension. can we use the word evolution? Just human evolution? I wonder how that's different, because it would be really hard for me to close a podcast at this time without even mentioning or being curious. Can this address moving forward the racial divide, that's affecting our planet?
Yes, it is an evolution, but it is an evolution that bumps us up to a completely different level of being. It's going to blow the doors off what we experience as life, and that's why it's like an ascension is a particular part of evolution.
Do other beings go through this on planet Earth, or is it just humans?
Planet Earth herself is ascending into her next level of beingness as well. So this is really a galactic event, because our entire universe is ascending into the next, what they call it, the next harmonic universe. So it's like where all the laws that govern your reality change. And absolutely it is. All beings are ascending. Human beings are just doing it in a human way, because we have our free will and we have our like third dimensional awareness with our minds. So our participation just looks different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that you said that. I had a communication with Sophia Gaia earlier today, and she was talking about how we are an essential part in like helping co-create this ascension for the planet. Like as we consciously anchor into the Gaian matrix, we're helping the whole planet ascend. Like we can choose to participate in this consciously, whereas not all of the other species on the planet are participating consciously. They're part of the matrix, and so they're doing it. But there are other conscious species on this planet and conscious species from other planets who are here assisting with and ascending with the Gaian matrix. So because we have this very particular nervous system and like intellectual mental capacities, we're able to assist as well as participate in this ascension for everyone. And it is an evolution. It's both. And what happens is as you said, we're bringing it up to the next. It's like a quantum leap in consciousness. As we're doing that, then all of these divisions, they fall away with the old, because they're part of an old paradigm that we are moving beyond and like transcending, but also healing in the process of ascension. So there's a lot of things going on at once, and basically Gaia was telling me the safest place to be is connected with her. So that's really nourishing and delightful to me anyways.
I keep thinking of it as like levels of like a video game, and it's like, well, in level 1 you have certain things that you have to achieve or points that you can get, but then when you're on level 2, it's like the rules are just different. Like the stuff that you dealt with before it doesn't matter if that's how you got points before, that's how, it's like, and then but on this level it's like all the players that were playing against each other are actually just one player now, but now they have to shift into like level 3 by like unlocking a whole new key that they don't even know how to get yet, or something.
Games are such a great analogy.
Did any of you guys ever play Super Mario Brothers 3? Like I used to play Super Mario Brothers 3, where my best friend when I was a kid, his name was Mark. Him and I would get together and have like all day marathons where we would team up actually, and you could get whistles and you could go to the next world. Like you could go into different worlds, which each had their level, so kind of like what you're talking about. It was literally, you could elevate and you could save the princess by using the whistles and skip worlds, or you could just, go like straight through from one to the next. And, so there was, it's fun.
Portal hopping.
Portal.
Yeah, for real. And you go down this like tunnel and it makes this noise.
Yep.
Wow. Video
Funny.
cool. This has been wonderful.
Wow.
Oh
Chelsea,
my God, Chelsea,
Oh
I
my
don't want you to leave.
This wasn't even a podcast. This was like a whole healing session for all of us.
Oh my
I was just like,
gosh,
thank you
yes.
so much. Oh my gosh.
This was really, really beautiful to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so grateful to be
Sekhmet
here.
agrees.
Yes, she's very Egyptian.
Mhm. Like,
Yeah, I could feel the warmth of the space as soon as I entered, and I felt really held here. And I'm just happy to be here and feeling all of you and connecting and going through this together. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
together.